Hi everyone, my name is Jaison Mathew. In this video, I'm going to talk about the mobility configuration on Cisco Wireless LAN controller. Before we go into the configuration part, let me try to explain about the overview of mobility in Cisco Wireless LAN controller. So here I have the configuration guide for 8.3 and I'm just referring the pictures available in uh, that document. So first thing we have to keep it in mind is when we talk about the mobility, we have three types of mobility, and one of them is the intra-controller roaming. So basically, we have clients roaming from one AP to another AP, but both the APs are connected to same controller. So that roaming, we call it as intra-controller roaming, and there is no mobility member involved in this process because we have only one controller that is supporting both the APs. And second type of roaming is intra intercontroller roaming. So in this scenario, we have two controllers, and both the APs are connected to two different controllers, and our client is moving from one AP that is connected to WLC1 to the second AP that is connected to WLC2. But in background, both the controllers are in same layer, same VLAN, so that will take care of the roaming, and the VLAN IP address will not change because your infrastructure is same and your controller is participating in same VLAN, and controller will exchange the mobility messages between two WLCs, and it will stay uh, with the same VLAN, and IP address will not change, and it will be completely transparent to the client, like above scenario. And we have one more type of controller roaming, that is inter-subnet roaming. So in this scenario, our APs are again connected to two different WLCs, but WLCs are not part of same VLAN. It's participating in two different VLANs, and these mobility messages will be exchanged between these two controllers. But in this scenario, what will happen is the client roamed from another controller to new controller. That controller will pass this traffic through mobility tunnel to the original controller, and it will show it as that client as a anchor, as a foreign, and it will be anchored to the original controller where it got moved from. So in this scenario, client will stay with the same IP, no issues, and it will be completely transparent to the client, but the traffic flow will change, and the controller 2 will send the traffic to controller 1, and controller 1 is going to send it outside your infrastructure. So as you can see here, this is the okay, so let me show you this picture. Okay, so as you can see here, you can see the traffic flow. This client was connected on access point 1 and it moved to access point 2, and it gone to your controller 2 and it tunneled to controller 1, and controller 1 is sending it out. So this is the example for inter-subnet roaming. So these are the three different scenarios you have it in roaming. But uh, as we said, it's most of the things are transparent to the user, and in the configuration part is also it's a straightforward one. And we have one more mobility method, that is new mobility, and I will be covering that in a different video. So in this video, let me show you how to add a controller into mobility group, and how to establish that tunnel between your controllers. Let's configure our controller 1 and 2. So for configuring mobility anchor, you can go to controller page and mobility groups, then click on new here. Then you have to enter your peer information here. So this is my client. So here I'll just take out, directly copy this one so that it will not have any issues in the mobility membership creation. And MAC address, copy the MAC address and paste it in MAC address text box. Then group name, by default it will show its own group name, but you have to give the group name from your peer, not the group name. You are having it on your same controller. So we are done with adding the peer into the first controller. So let's add first controller into the second one. Let me click on this. Sorry. Then MAC address of this and mobility group name as I'll explain about this group name concept, how what are the combinations we can use it in the mobility. So I added these controllers now. Then now you can see this now you can see this control path is down. We just added it. So let me click on refresh. Now mobility is up between these two controllers. Now this is how you create mobility group members, and in one controller we can go up to 72 members. So there is a combination. So let me show you that document, Cisco document. So in this mobility, okay, so this is the group number. If you are having only one mobility group, you can add 72 members into that group. If you have, it's a multiplication of 3, so it depends on your uh, number of WLCs available on your mobility group. So if you have only 3 groups, you can have 24 members each. If you have 12 groups, you can have only 6 members. Then if you have 24 mobility groups, you can have 3 members, and 72 mobility groups, you can add 1. So basically you can go up to 72 in the number, but that depends on how many groups you are creating on the controller. So depends on that, this combination will change. So as you can see here, this particular controller is running with the group name of wireless, but the other controller is running with the group name of Cisco. So that's how you can combine your groups. If you have multiple sites, and if you want to make a group of one site, like one set of sites, you can do that. And in the anchor you can set this kind of grouping so that you can control your sites based on the groups. So this is how you normally add mobility member. Then I already covered how to create mobility anchor on any WLAN. So let me show you that again. So here go to WLAN page. This is the setup for auto anchoring. So auto anchoring will allow you to make sure your entire traffic coming from this particular WLAN is going through that WLC, the anchor WLC. So you can click on mobility anchor, then you can select the required anchor here, then click on mobility anchor create. So by doing this, you can see this particular IP got added as an anchor. Then the entire traffic coming from this particular WLAN will be going through the mobility anchor configured on this WLAN. So this is how you configure the mobility anchor in auto anchoring scenario. So hope this one will help you in configuring the mobility anchor, or adding the mobility anchor, or mapping to your WLAN on for auto anchoring. And please refer to this document for better understanding on different type of roaming available on Cisco wireless LAN controller. Thank you for watching. Hope this one will help you in creating mobility anchor scenarios.